Hello everyone, I hope you're well. I'm on a holiday somewhere in England, so for this fortnight's slice, I'm not going to talk about the law or the market because I'm not working, but I'm going to reminisce, because in a couple of days' time it will be 30 years since I first walked into a law firm to start my training contract, or my articles of association as they were then called. And the firm was called Breacher & Co, and it was a specialist property practice in the West End of London with about 25 partners, all their names on the note paper as was then usual. And it had been founded in the late 50s by two brothers, David Breacher and Henry Breacher, or Mr. David and Mr. Henry, as they were known deferentially about the office. And they were hugely well connected, especially Mr. David, who had built up a seriously impressive array of clients, particularly but not exclusively from the Jewish business community, including names who were huge then and who remain significant today, names high up on the Sunday Times rich list. So the work was first rate and it was a great place to train. And I would travel in every day to the West End of London from Oxford, where I lived, not on the train, which was far too expensive for what now seems a shockingly modest salary, but on the coach, the good old Oxford tube, which still ferries between the dreaming spires and the big smoke to this day. So 2 hours either way every day from Gloucester Green to Marble Arch, from where it was a 10-minute walk to Breacher & Co, near the US Embassy, near Claridge's in Brook Street. And of course things were very different then, back in 1992. Mobile phones were brick size, as we all know. The only computers on desks belonged to secretaries. For solicitors they were still about 5 years away, and the ratio of solicitors to secretaries was something close to 1-to-1. Instructions to your secretary were dictated onto mini cassette tapes on your dictaphone. Email didn't exist. Communication was by letter or fax. The phone was used a lot more, and couriers, bikes buzzed about all over London. Procedures were different. Company searches came in an envelope full of flexible pieces of printed plastic called microfiches, which you would read and print on a microfiche reader, a large, very analogue machine. Leases were excluded from the 1954 Act, not by statutory declarations, but, as they would be for another 10 years, by getting a court order, a major inconvenience. And the trick was finding a court who could do it quickly. Now, Horsham was one I ended up using a lot, but then there was the question, never answered, about whether a court order from somewhere where the premises were not situated was a valid contracting out. Leases were hard then to get over the line. Early access licenses were used a lot. The land registry was not fully computerised. Your title was a buff-coloured book called a land certificate, like a large Monopoly card. If your property was mortgaged, it was blue, and it was called a charge certificate, with the original mortgage sewn into the back with some string, some thin string. If you sold part of the property, you physically put the land certificate on deposit at the land registry for the land certificate to be changed, which they'd started doing by computer when I joined, but which had previously been done with biro and typewriter. And shame on you if you lost the land certificate. It was serious enough for you to have to go crawling to the registry with a statutory declaration. Your title number was declared dead, but you got a new land certificate with a new title number, like a phoenix from the flames. Now, some things were better then than they are today. When paying stamp duty, you didn't have to fill in a 12-page return and send it to the revenue. You gave your document to some old boy from the office who would go along with a cheque to the stamp office to get it embossed with beautiful stamps showing the duty payable. And of course, as the tax lawyers were keen to stress, stamp duty, apart from on transfers and long leases, was merely a voluntary tax. So some things were better, some things were not so good, but things worked as they do today because you can only work with what you know. I'll see you all in 2 weeks' time.